The cub's growl came through the vent like a warning siren, low, wet, and far too confident for something that small. Nora Vance froze halfway up the ladder in maintenance shaft 9B. Emergency lights pulsed amber. The station kept repeating. Unregistered life form detected. Quarantine protocols active. Her flashlight caught two gold eyes in the dark. Then the cub lunged. Nora jerked her forearm up. Tiny teeth snapped an inch from her sleeve. The grey wolf cub hit her with a compact, brutal force, snarling like it had sworn an oath. Smoke-colored fur bristled. Ears pinned flat. Nora did not scream. She went still. "Easy," she breathed. "I'm not your enemy." The cub answered with a deeper growl, and the ductwork carried it like a threat across the metal. Her wrist console vibrated. Life support node 9B. Pressure drop. Camera grid. Offline. External docking clamps. Manual override in progress. Oxygen warning. Deck 9 will drop to 14% in 6 o'clock. 4 alarms. One truth. Raiders were boarding, and Deck 9 was about to start gasping. Nora's job was systems. On this station, that meant life. She eased one hand to her belt pouch and pulled out a sealed neonatal nutrition bottle, the kind nobody respected until someone was bleeding. She clicked the cap softly and set the bottle on the ladder rung beside her. No pushing. No reaching. Just an offer. Milk. The cub's nostrils flared. Its growl wavered for a heartbeat, betrayed by hunger. "I'm Nora," she said quietly. "If you're going to bite someone today, at least learn the name first." The cub's collar blinked, metal, dented, and very much not wild. A translator collar. A thin, furious voice crackled into basic. "Nix." Nora's stomach tightened. A named cub with a collar meant Hans had put it here, and Hans usually came back for what they owned. A harsh shudder ran through the station. Docking clamps locked with a sound like teeth closing. They were on board. Nora pulled up the shaft schematic. Node 9B was failing, and quarantine pulses were spiking in the ducts, enough to make any sensitive creature feel like the walls were stinging it. Nix snapped at the air, as if the station itself had insulted it. "Yeah," Nora whispered. "I feel it too." She pointed at the panel above Nix's perch. "I have to open that. I won't touch you. I just need the station to keep breathing." Nix bared its teeth. "Station hurts." That sentence hit harder than the growl. Nora's anger rose hot and clean. "Then I'll fix that too. But I need your help." She waited. Slow suspense, no force. Predators respected patience more than pleading. Nix's glare flicked to the bottle. Pride fought hunger. Hunger won by a fraction. Nix dragged it close, twisted the cap with stubborn teeth, and drank like comfort was an enemy it refused to surrender to. Milk dotted its whiskers. The growl faded into silence. Nora moved while the moment held. She popped the panel, snapped a bypass coupler into the air shunt conduit, and rerouted pressure away from the dying node. Cold air hissed across her knuckles. The gauge climbed. Oxygen delivery. Stabilizing. Time gained. 12 o'clock. Nora exhaled. Then her console flashed a new line that punched her blood cold. Security door 9. Forced entry. Raider team. 3 signals moving toward node 9B. They were coming here. Nora killed her light. "Nix," she whispered. "Quiet. Back." Nix didn't move at first. Its ears twitched. It listened. Then the cub's posture shifted. Not fear, not retreat. Readiness. Like a tiny soldier hearing boots. Through metal, Nora heard the raiders' voices. "Nodes in the wall," one said. "Find the maintenance shaft." "Cut it if you have to," another snapped. Nora climbed fast to the upper hatch. It was sealed under lockdown. Access denied. Of course. She shoved a bypass spike into the lock and fed it a fake heartbeat, an old human trick that made security circuits believe they were still being supervised. Access. Pending. Boots. Closer. Tools screeching. The lock clicked. Nora slipped into the hydroponic service corridor and pulled the hatch down with a soft thud. Plants swayed under emergency lights. The air smelled wet and green, alive. She sprinted to the distribution hub and slammed her console into the panel port. The Raiders' jammer was piggybacking a local relay. Cut it wrong, and she'd kill her oxygen shunt. Cut it right, and she'd wake the station's eyes and its teeth. Nora steadied her hands. Not today. She rerouted the shunt to redundancy, verified pressure, then snapped the relay breaker down. Comms restored. Cameras online. Security link active. Control, she said into her wrist MIC. Voice razor calm, Raiders on deck 9. Seal bulkheads. Send security to 9B. Copy, Vance. Control replied instantly. Locking them in. Nora ran back. A raider rounded the corridor corner, armored, rifle up, expecting prey. Nora slapped the emergency irrigation release. The overhead system dumped its reservoir in a sudden, violent flood. Water slammed into the raider, yanked his footing out, and threw him into the wall with a metallic grunt. His rifle skidded away. Nora didn't stop. A bulkhead dropped behind her with a heavy slam. Another dropped ahead of the second raider, separating them like a guillotine. Control's locks moved faster than raider plans. Nora hit the maintenance hatch and dropped back into shaft 9B. Inside, darkness breathed. She whispered, "Nix." A soft electronic click. Here. The raiders were above now, cutting into the corridor side hatch. Sparks hissed through the seam. If they opened it, they'd see Nix. And if they saw a collar on a predator cub, they'd see profit. Nora swallowed once and made a decision that felt like a line drawn in blood. "Nix," she said, low and steady. "I need you to do exactly what I say." A pause. Then, "Say." "There's a small junction duct to your left. A grate. Behind it is a fire suppression canister for this shaft. If you hit it hard, it will burst cold foam into the corridor when the hatch opens. It will blind them. You stay behind the grate. You'll be safe." Nix's voice tightened. "Boom." "Yes," Nora whispered. "A safe boom." The cutter screamed. The hatch began to give. In the darkness, Nora heard small paws moving, fast, purposeful. Nora climbed until her palm pressed the underside of the hatch. She listened to raider breaths through the crack. "Almost through," one muttered. Nora counted with her heartbeat. 3, 2, 1. The hatch blew inward in sparks. Nora jammed her maintenance key into the emergency hinge and forced the hatch to swing fully open. At the same instant, a heavy thud echoed from inside the duct. Nix struck the canister. Cold foam erupted upward like a white storm, swallowing the raiders' faces and weapons. They coughed, cursed, stumbled blind. "I can't see." "What is?" Nora surged up through the opening and hooked a boot behind the nearest raider's ankle. She yanked hard. He crashed backward onto the foam-slick floor. A second raider lifted his rifle blindly. Nora drove her elbow into his wrist. Metal clattered away. The third fired wild, the shot sparking off the ceiling. Nora grabbed a wall-mounted tool handle and jammed the barrel up, then kicked his knee sideways. He dropped with a howl. Security arrived in a rush of boots and stun arcs. "On the floor," the lead officer barked. Stun light cracked. Raiders went limp. Silence returned in gasps and dripping foam. The officer turned to Nora, stunned. "Vance, what the hell?" Nora pointed at the shaft. Don't open it fast. There's a cub in there. The officer's posture shifted. Copy. Slow. Nora crouched by the opening and angled her light away from the darkness. Nix, she whispered. They're gone. A long pause. Then the small voice, rough with fear and stubborn pride. Gone. Gone, Nora promised. Nix crawled forward, slow and suspicious, collar blinking. Up close, Nora saw the dried blood on its muzzle and the scrapes along its foreleg. Nora set another milk bottle on the floor, carefully, like a treaty. Nix sniffed it, then looked up. Its collar clicked. Why? The single word hit like a hook in the ribs, yanking straight into the real mystery. Why help? Why risk? Why choose a cub over safety? Nora's answer came without a speech. It came clean. Because you tried to scare me so you wouldn't be scared alone, she said. And because nobody gets to turn kids into cargo on my station. The officer started. Protocol says quarantine. Nora cut him off. Quiet and absolute. Then protocol can learn. She turned to the access panel and typed fast, rerouting the quarantine pulse away from duct sensors, tagging Nix as registered rescue. The system flashed warnings. Nora overrode them. The invisible sting in the walls faded. Nix shuddered, then released a breath that sounded like relief it didn't want anyone to hear. Nora held out her hand, palm open, and kept it still. Invitation. Not control. Nix stared at her fingers for a long moment. Then it pressed a small paw into her palm. Warm. Trembling. Real. Nora didn't move. She let the contact mean what it meant. Control's voice came through Nora's wrist again, tight. Vance, security found a sealed crate in the Raider shuttle. Heat signatures inside. Nora's blood turned to ice. Don't open it in the hallway, she said. Bring it to Med Bay 3. Quiet room. Warm air. No bright lights. The lead officer blinked. You think it's more. I know, Nora said, and her calm was sharper than shouting. That collar on Nix wasn't a pet tag. It was inventory. They moved fast while bulkheads held the remaining raiders like insects in glass. Cameras tracked. Doors obeyed. The station systems reasserted control. This was the human advantage. Not claws. Not armor. Coordination. Infrastructure. The ability to make a station fight back. In Med Bay 3, the crate waited on a gurney. Nora knelt. Listened. Faint scratching. A tiny whine. Nix's ears angled toward the sound. Its collar clicked, and the word came out like pain. Pack. Nora swallowed once. Okay, she whispered. Then we bring your pack home. She unlatched the crate slowly and cracked it open just enough for air, not light. Two smaller grey shapes blinked inside, trembling cubs, muzzles bound with soft restraints. Nora's voice stayed gentle, because gentle was the first rescue. You're safe, she said. No one's selling you. Nix pressed closer to the opening, a low protective rumble vibrating through the room. Later, in a quiet Med Bay, Nix endured antiseptic with clenched teeth while Nora sat close, steady as a gravity anchor. No sedation. No rough hands. Just calm. When the vet finished, Nora carried Nix to a small, reinforced quarters she'd claimed on the spot. A blanket nest waited on the floor. Clean water. Soft light. No alarms. Nix hovered at the threshold, uncertain. Nora set a final milk bottle down and sat with her back to the wall, making herself harmless. Nix padded in. It drank slower now, like it was learning trust could exist without a trap. Its collar clicked softly. Stay. Nora's throat tightened. Yeah, she whispered. I'm staying. Nix yawned, showed sharp little teeth, then curled onto the blanket nest. One paw reached out and touched Nora's boot, claiming it like an oath. Outside, the station returned to its steady hum. Raiders were contained. Oxygen flowed. The walls stopped hurting. Nora watched until Nix's breathing evened out. "You're safe here," she said, so quietly it was almost a promise to herself. Nix's eyes fluttered closed. "Good," it murmured, drowsy and certain. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more HFY sci-fi, and comment your favorite moment. Nix's first word, the safe boom, or the porta palm treaty.